All right, we are all the way on episode 13. I am so excited about our guest today. We have the beautiful Sue Carlton in the building, and we're going to talk everything about cannabis, women empowerment. We're going to get into it.
Oh,
today.
I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction.
Thank you.
I appreciate being here on Boss Bee's Conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited. So we are going to jump right into it as we always do. Let's talk about your journey. How did you get into cannabis?
Okay, so
Farming at that too.
farming cannabis, it's an 11-year-old journey now of mine. It feels really exciting to like surpass like the 10-year mark because like when I first started out, you're just like a baby and it's like, well, what do you know? So for me, putting in lots and lots of hard work from, essentially taking every and any job that there was, entry-level positions, whether it was like custodial work or like putting together boxes. Like I wanted any opportunity to, learn how to do all of the various parts that were within, different aspects of cannabis itself. So I absolutely love the farming aspect of it, but, working into the farming aspect, I have to say is like it's the hardest entrance to go into, especially as a female, especially as somebody that is not of a legacy, heritage, so within that and trying to navigate how to exactly, it's like, well, how do I search for a job? Like, how did I search for a job? Okay, well, back then it was like, there's Northern California, there's Oregon, there's Washington. You have a lot of medical opportunities to go work on the mountainside or go work in the middle of nowhere for like a season. So like maybe you go work for like 3 months and, you live on the farm itself.
wow.
And so starting off like as somebody that was a trimmer or AKA like trimmergant that would like come to a specific area to make money, to trim, to work on a farm. It was exciting, like really like titillating, like to do all of that. But it was also really scary because that's 10 years ago when, the black market was like really, thriving. It's still thriving today. It was definitely like a journey to come from that side of things, then to come into the recreational market, and having to prove myself to these companies of, I wanted to have like a tax job. I wanted to, be able to tell my family like, hey, listen, like I have a job, like I have a W-9 form that I fill out. I pay taxes to the state, pay taxes to the federal government, like, coming out of like the black market and the dark ages of it and being able to show your face on Instagram, being able to tell people what you do rather than have to like make up some kind of job. And, being able to come forward with that, I mean, goes back into like me starting off with like doing like custodial work for these recreational companies, while going to school at Portland State University, working towards a degree in community health, and then later on working towards my master's of public health administration. Super thankful that I spent all that money and all that time in school to only realize that all I wanted to do was go back and actually work with the plant because that's where I found the most solitude and peace. And that was something that the work that I had to put into being a farmer was the toughest part of it all. To have to, tell people that, hey, I can, do all the things that your guys can do on a farm. I can do it better. I can do it faster. I can do it more efficient overall, not just on time, but also on financials. And that was one thing that my mom taught me was that, hey, if you're going to tell somebody a reason to hire you or a reason to give you money or whatever it is, like be able to make like economical sense to them. And so through all of those things, that's really what pushed me into being the farmer that I am here today and moving to, Fresno.
You're from where?
Originally from North Carolina.
Okay. Wait, totally off subject, but how did you You moved out here for school? Or did you move out here for something else?
So when I was in North Carolina, I grew up in a military family. I grew up right next to Cherry Point Air Force Base. But my family was Army.
Okay.
And so they're veterans, but we're also Catholic, right? You know how I say we're Catholic. Okay. My family's, they practice Catholicism, and it's something really, when you think of those two things and you think about, cannabis, it's, it's a total absolute like no, right?
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like,
girl,
how's your family accept
I
that?
was unhinged like growing up. Like I literally I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do because I was like educationally gifted in the way that I was in like advanced studies classes. I could, ace a test without having to like try half as hard as anybody else. And so, having grades to back my unhingedness was kind of like, okay, well, you can do what you want, but you can't do what you want. And we'll see how whatever gets you. And obviously it came to a point where it's like I went off to school, like for my first year of college, dropped out because I just was like, it's not for me. I also wanted to be independent of my family as well. And not my entire family, but some of my family. And I wanted to kind of do, live the life that I wanted to live. And so I traveled for a bit. I went to Australia. I did the whole nannying thing over there,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And when I came back, I ended up locating back in Portland. And I know that you said that like earlier you were a part of you lived in Washington as well, and so like you were in the service, and you understand the weather.
Yeah, oh my God, I hated it. It was so gloomy and just it's a certain type of person has to like that area because I mean it's nice like nature wise, but it's like it's always cold and gloomy, and they get like 3 weeks of summer, and is Portland similar?
Portland is the same exact thing. We got the same exact weather that you have up there and everything. But even from like your standpoint of like sitting next to somebody that like, is in the cannabis industry, has, a hemp farm, works for cannabis companies, but has also like, served in the military as well. What is that like for you thinking that like, would you be sitting like naturally right here?
No,
or would that be,
I mean, I'm from Cali, so we, but no, I wouldn't have imagined this maybe a couple years ago, probably.
Yeah.
Like from this to that, like it's like night and day. So I'm so grateful to be in a space to be able to have conversations with people like you. So.
Well, I think that that's something that is really cool that the space has opened up, to it's being able to share, like being able to like share like what we're doing right here, even though like we're in two completely like separate different like industries in itself, but being able to share the space that we have, because I mean like 10 years ago if a shop owner talked about cannabis or CBD or any of those things,
been frowned upon,
probably
what are they doing?
So I think it's really cool to even like have this opportunity to be able to discuss these things. And
the evolution definitely has like it's crazy from years before to now. Like it's very accepting, especially in California. But there's a lot of states. Like how many states is it legal now? Do you know?
I think it's like the majority of all of them now. I want to say like let's just say like 45 of them are probably legal, because there may be a few more that have like added on it. And then
so
I
it's
know
like y'all doing it. It's accepted.
And I know that some states, whether they've approved it, some of the representatives have gone back on it, and so have been like, oh, actually, no, this isn't like the best thing, for our state. And so, the public fighting it. I know Texas, for instance, doesn't have, like they have a very limited medical community there, but they don't have recreational. And there's a lot of potential for it because there's a lot of hemp farms and there's a lot of medical patients that are in need over there as well. But it's just it's a time will tell. I wanted to come to the West Coast when I was growing up because I always dreamed of being in the cannabis industry and like wanted to work with it like so badly that like I thought that being on the West Coast would give me that opportunity, not knowing how that opportunity was going to present itself. because it didn't present itself in that regular way. I was like just in like college sitting next to a girl, and she was like, hey, you know, if you want to make some extra money, like you can come work with me, like, and we can go trim. It's like in this warehouse. I'll come pick you up at this time, you know.
That's an experience. I'm like, let me go see. I would have walked in like, oh.
But you walk in and you're like super excited and kind of like geeked out in the eyes because you're just like, oh my God, like what? You're like, oh my God, all of this. You're like, can I smoke a little bit? Like,
how much can I take?
What's the protocol? But then you also like look around and you see like, you know, a lot of cameras, and you just see like there's a very serious side of things to it as well. You know, that I think that make it like a very intricate, like, if you want to feel alive, like that, like those kinds of things definitely made me
just
feel
off of
that
your
way.
videos. I'd be looking like, oh my God.
Well, that's why
I love it.
I love being able to have my hemp farm now, because I decided to be on the hemp side of things because one, I didn't want to have to deal with the heavily regulated nature of the recreational like cannabis industries, like regardless if it's in California or if it's in any other state. They're really like tight buttholes. And
what does that look like? Like regulations for THC based?
It is essentially, instead of having our farm where we are able to kind of grow without being watched. Okay. That's a big thing to me. Like, I don't want a camera on me like the whole entire time. I also don't want to have to individually metric tag every single plant that I have. You know, and that's just because it's like I'm a hemp farmer, like it's a little bit different. But those are things that like I would find, because I worked in the industry, were things that I wouldn't have wanted to do, as well as like, let me just say, biggest reason why I'm not on that side of things is because of the heavy entrance fee. It makes it really hard for, you know, small businesses to be legally licensed in any state in the United States, because, you know, what's the realistic nature of somebody having $500,000 to $1 million sitting around? You need $500,000 to start off with, and pretty much at minimum,
that's just for the license.
Yeah. That's not talking about your lawyer fees. That's not talking about any of your other fees that come into like what your build out looks like, and the requirements. You need a special like facility and stuff like that. Special facility within a special area that can't be within so many meters of something that you know, has to be built in a certain way that doesn't, you know, that doesn't allow things to happen. Whatever the things are. So it's a super regulated, you know, aspect of it, but I love being around the plant, and being a medical patient myself, I love being able to grow it and being able to showcase like the actual hemp farm, because the plants, the only difference in a hemp plant and in a, you know, quote, quote, cannabis, marijuana, you know, regulated recreational or medicinal plant is within its federal definition of it being underneath 0.3% Delta 9. And that's within the whole plant itself. So as long as it's underneath 0.9 or 0.3% Delta 9, which is it's the typical cannabinoid that we associate with like with weed, you know. Okay. So gotcha. it's a psychoactive, like, you know, component that, you know, gives.
But they make you feel the same, right?
No,
they don't.
No. So some, you know, like they share similar properties, and there's different terpenes that are in them. So like, you know how as somebody that works, you know, with like different skincare products, and you have different essential oils or different essence, and so those are also terpenes. Okay, gotcha. And so terpenes are found in everything. The same limonene that's found in lemons is also found in cannabis, is also found in hemp. So cannabis and hemp are the same thing. It's just by that one definition of how much potency it has of that specific, you know, like moniker, right? Gotcha. So I would absolutely love, you know, for you to be able to come up during like the summertime, because I mean, it's amazing to be in the field and like to be able to experience like that grand nature, like of it all.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna talk, because I love that. Because I'm living through your videos, but I would love to see it in person, because that's her video. You got to check out her videos. Her videos are awesome. Okay, so let's talk about, because I know that you touched on a little bit about it being a male dominant like industry. What are some challenges that you have faced with being a woman-owned business?
Well, it's really multifaceted because it can come down to how you're spoken to, how you're treated, the opportunities that you're given, as well as like your pay rate and, essence. So, like in a common like accumulation of those things right there, I will say that with any of those potential things that happen, because we're all going to experience it as females, and especially when you don't have to be in the male driven industry to face the stereotypical masculine things that could happen. Like you could be around other women. It's not necessarily like as well gender specific.
Yeah.
But when you are around a bunch of people who do not recognize the feminine entity, and that one realizing that we are different. We have different hormones.
Right.
We are made up differently. We can also fulfill and do the same things. But when we ask for equity, what we mean is that maybe sometimes we want to be seen as such, but also be given the tools to excel and to do what men are doing at the same exact time. And so like for myself, you're gonna, like, for me and anybody in general, I'm like, we've all had nasty things that men have said to us. Like I've had things being said like, you as a female should be a trimmer, or you're probably at most going to be a like a farm mom.
Don't limit me. Don't limit me. How dare you?
I've had, while I was just trying to work my way up to the top, have had like an ex tell me that like I was valueless, that I brought nothing to the table. Like while I'm like working on my degree and, I'm trying to find my place within the industry. And you know what? Like at the end of the day, I'm like, all of the mean things that people said to me, I'm like, it fueled me to be better, to do better, and to go harder. And to basically, I'm like, oh, you exist? No, you don't. Like, I'm like, I'm here today because of me. And I'm like, I thank you for making me realize that, like, it's up to me to be the best version of me. Because that's all that did. So, there's a lot of things that women, will continuously face from, sexual harassment. Yes, has that happened?
No.
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm like, has there been, gender discrimination based off the jobs that I have wanted or that I have applied for? Because I'll be honest, like when I started to apply for cannabis farms jobs up in Oregon,
they're like,
I wouldn't even get a response back.
That's crazy.
Then I would go on there, see who they would hire eventually, because some little Wookiee boy or whatever, like a Wookiee, like in the cannabis industry, is like usually like dread-headed, Caucasian, wears patchouli, whatever, thinks that he can grow and maybe has little to no experience.
Right.
And they would like hire that person.
Wow.
And then I'm just like, okay, like that's cool. So it's like I wasn't even given a chance like half of the time to do that. But I'm also super amazed because there were a lot of people. I just had to search out and I had to find the people that were willing to give me opportunities. And I would have to say that both men and women provided me with opportunities to learn how to grow and also help provide me with safe spaces as well. So it's something that you're going to find bad ones, but you can also find really good ones, and just not to like be discouraged off of it, but to also, one, in this day and age, know your workers' rights.
Oh, yeah.
Know your rights as a worker in the like whatever state that you're in, regardless if you're a 1099 contractor worker or if you're a W-9 worker, like know your rights, know what you have going on, and know that the job and that title or that image that you precede yourself with, one, it's not you. That can be taken away at any point in time, but you can't be defined by that label or by, oh, well, I need to work for this company because I'm a grower. Well, if they treat you like crap,
Damn.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to be a grower? Be a grower somewhere else. Find your way, figure it out, but don't get discouraged. Like, you can be discouraged by it for a little bit, but like, don't hold that like ultimately down, you know?
Right, absolutely. So going back to when you said like jumping into the industry, for someone that maybe is watching and wants to know like how do I tap in, do you recommend, how do you go about finding those? Are they those type of jobs like on Indeed and stuff like that? Or is there like a specific channel that you go through?
So there's multiple ways that people can go about it. Obviously, there's different workplace, listings. There's Indeed. Back in the day, people would use Craigslist,
Right?
A little bit more sketch ones right over
Right.
there. I mean, but like, there's still some like legit stuff, and on those kinds of platforms. Nowadays, there's a lot of companies that have popped up that are kind of acting as a facilitator for various jobs or for various work that is needed. And so they do a little bit more of backing into the companies and into the people being hired.
Both sides.
Doing those kinds of things. And then the second thing is that, there's a lot of events that people can go to. And I think that looking up events and like one of the biggest things is like face value, because like you need to make a connection. Like the potential of making a connection online versus like in person, it's so much far fewer, and it's not necessarily sometimes as authentic as meeting somebody in person and being able to share like that front value with each other.
Absolutely.
And so I think that events are like one of the best like spots to connect, because if you wanted to work with me, and if you were just hitting me up online, I'm probably not going to like acknowledge it.
Right.
I probably, if I don't need help, I'm not going to, I won't even, I won't even try to entertain the message, because why? I get hit up so much every single day asking, do you have a job? Can I come work for you? Can I come live on your farm?
What?
And
live,
it's like, and
live,
it's literally
wait
just
a minute.
like,
live. Wait a
yeah,
minute
people
now.
want to move right in. People want to move right in. Girl, you know what? I'm not going to lie. When I feel bad, I be going on my little Instagram, my little hidden messages, the ones that it doesn't show me, just so I can feel better about myself. I'm just like, oh, all these people would come work for me. I'm like, these people think I'm beautiful. This person wants me to adopt them. Like, I'm just like...
That's crazy.
But it is crazy, because a lot of my girlfriends, they get hit up on Instagram and told like how sexy they are, how they want to, fuck, they want to smash, they want to do that. They're getting some photos.
What?
But
they be bold on.
All I have to say is like it's the precedence that you set on Instagram, and I'm like, I'm known for being like sexy but classy, and I do not get those weird ass little messages. Like I do not. I get the ones, can I come and work for you? And you know what? I feel so respected.
You should.
As a farmer, that these men and these women, they hit me up to work for me, rather than being like, can we get it on? Like, what you doing? Like, nothing like that.
It's like, no.
So I feel like,
I love that.
I had to work for it, and I knew that coming into this space, that my image was important for me to set, and how I convey my messages, how I look personally, how, I appear when I'm out at events and in public. Like, all of those things matter to brand representation. And when you are the face, such as yourself, for your own company, like, that, it's like you gotta be top tier with it,
For sure. That's wild though. I'm still on the like, can I live on your farm? Like, wait, buddy, I don't know you.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Can you ask me how my day is going first? Like,
good morning to you too.
Yeah, I know. I feel like if people had my address, maybe they would just start showing up like stray cats and dogs, like just waiting outside my gate. So let me in. Like,
that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, how do you? That's one thing that I want to know. Okay, so you live on a farm and it's out there, like out somewhat the boonies, right? So, do you ever like? How do you keep that secure? Like, I'm pretty sure. I mean, there's people out there that be doing too much, but. Like I would, you don't.
One, we don't have our like we don't keep our address posted or
Okay.
anything like that. Two, I think that as any female that has a very, very strong presence, like even whether you're online, like, and it doesn't even matter because like it doesn't matter if you have 100 followers or if you have 1,000,000 followers, like you
Right.
can still have a stalker or
Absolutely.
you can still have somebody. And like obviously for me, like we're obviously like on the hemp side of things, and it's like, hey, don't steal our stuff because it's CBD, you know?
Right.
Like, it's not going to get you high like marijuana.
Right.
It's going to get you high. It's going to provide some calming and anxiety reliefs potentially
Right.
for you, which you probably need after all of that. But, you know, I mean, like, for us, it's like, you know, being safe. And but then
Yeah.
also, like, I think back to, like, my parents, like, growing up in the military is, like, number one things, like, their phrases, stay alert, stay alive, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I live with every single
Yeah.
day. Like when I traveled the world, like by myself, like, I mean, I backpacked around like at 19
Really?
years old.
Oh, we
I
need
lived
to
in
talk,
the
baby, 'cause
Tenderloin
that's-
district, like when I was like 18 and just like romping around out there, like in a peacoat,
I
like,
love it.
and people are like, oh my God, you? And I'm like, yeah, me. Because I'm like, I made sure that I was always conscious. I'm conscious of
That's
my
how I am when I travel.
surroundings. I don't post when I'm going to go, where I'm going to be, unless it's something where I'm working on a paid thing for
Oh,
an
yeah.
event or something like that. Like, yeah, you'll know where I'm going to be at, okay? But I'm like, in a regular thing, it's like, I'm not posting where I'm going to go to brunch today. Like, I'm not posting when I'm going to be gone at my
Right.
farm, you know?
Right.
If you come to my farm, like you'll meet two of my my pit bulls. Like
Right.
you'll also meet my mans and my
Right,
neighbors.
right.
And
And
I
they're
would be
looking
more
out, too.
afraid of my neighbors up there because they are like full blown like mountain people.
Oh yeah, they're
And
like, you don't belong
they are
here.
waiting.
Right.
Those are the kind of people that just like they've literally have just
Like,
been waiting.
You want to come today and mess with us? You have to get
And
it.
they love me up there too. They're
Aw.
just like
I love it. That's good to have like a good surrounding like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're talking about travel, I want to know now because y'all know I be traveling. Tell us some interesting places that you've traveled. Let's see if I've been to some of them.
So
Or where's some of your favorites?
I would have to say, like, Barcelona is one of my favorite places.
okay.
I think it's really beautiful over there. You know, like we're like my family like mestizo, so it's like Mexican, like indigenous and like Spanish like mixture. So obviously I'm like going over there, visiting on like the
Yeah.
big, like beautiful like churches. I am also really we all have to like charcuterie. And I'm just like if you go over like anywhere like in like this like Spain or like Portugal or like even like the Mediterranean like areas, like I just love like tapas style like food, but I also love like I love the heavy culture of like we eat dinner really late, we eat dinner really long, like it's a very like intimate sharing experience. And so I love that kind of like, you know, that kind of time like with my people.
Okay.
And also like being able to like meet new people
Right.
in those kinds of like places as well. When I was younger, I did Australia and I backpacked around like the whole coastline.
I'm so scared of
it.
Australia because I like to get in the water and they be having weird stuff in their water.
I'm gonna be honest. I really don't. I grew up on the East Coast, like literally like 45 minutes away from the beach. I do not like to go in the water.
You don't play with the water.
I remember watching Lake Placid growing up,
Right.
and I was afraid that there was an alligator like in our thing. And we also had like freshwater and saltwater.
Right.
So there could be a chance that there's like alligators and sharks like in the same like river that we grew up on. And there was like mad pollution, you know, from like all like
No, I'm good.
yeah.
I'm more like I gotta be able to see through the water, but then I'm like, well, is there jellyfish in here? Is there some?
You know what water I like? I like the like clear ponds that they have like going off of the rivers like
Okay,
up here
yeah.
where you can like really see everything.
Right. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
like-
Like, more I've traveled, I see like more clear
And I
blue
don't want
water.
it really rushing fast either.
No.
I'm just like, can it just be calm?
Chill.
And I can see everything.
Right, like,
and
hold on.
know. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'm definitely that way. Like after I traveled, I was tripping going to like Pizzle and stuff where you can't see nothing in the water. I had no clue what could have been like swimming up to me. Can't see nothing. I'm like, this ain't no real. I came back like low key feeling disrespected after I went and seen like, oh, these are real beaches. Like this is clear water.
I had a shark touch me one time.
No, I would have died.
And that was
the shark would have got me because I would have passed out.
This is like 10 years ago. I thought that was my cousin.
Where were you at?
North Carolina.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Atlantic Ocean. So I'm like all swimming, being a little mermaid out there. I think my cousin, swims past me or whatever because I like feel something against my leg. And then like I like look up out of the water. My cousin's like 30 feet down there. There was no way he was swimming right next to me or anything like that. And I was like, I was like, there's a shark in here. I tried to tell my whole family. I was like, there's a shark.
Help.
So I start running in, and all of a sudden, this like, in the current, like the little waves like tumbling over. Here's the shark. Just tumbles over again, accidentally hits me again in my little leg, but then gets swept back up. And I was like, oh.
Nope.
And that's literally the like,
I'm good. You're like, good. I'm not getting in the water no more.
I'm good. I'm like, I pool, hot tub.
There you
Perfect. Perfect.
I'm safe
Rivers,
here.
lakes, sometimes, and they got turtles in there. Like
I could do the turtle as long as there's not no snapping turtle.
that's what I'm saying. A snapping turtle.
Do we have those here?
I don't know if they have them here, but I know they got them in the South.
Yeah. Do they? Oh, she's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, big old one.
Yeah, no, I ain't doing that. I always wanted to go to, I think it's like Tanzania. They have like this area where you can swim with the turtles. But I was like, are y'all sure these things snapping turtles? Why you just got people up in here? They can't be, but still, they're huge, like huge turtles. Like, I'm good.
I'd feel the same exact way.
Okay, so let's talk about, so we talked a little bit about the legal aspect of it, and the investment. Like, I didn't know it was that much. Whew, child. So I won't be getting into cannabis, y'all. I ain't got it. Hopefully in the future I ain't got it though. Are there any other like legal aspects that if someone was like looking to even like start researching on it, that you have to like to jump through different hoops to get your like credentials to have a farm?
One thing is like something that would prohibit you to start off the bat with is some kind of felony. So you can't have a felony on your record if you want to enter into the cannabis space. I think that when it comes to a lot of people that are looking for brands nowadays, there's actually a lot of companies that are, white labeling out their flowers. So it's particularly like greenhouses. So like up in Salinas, they have some of the largest greenhouses in California, and have some of the, probably, I would say you're the California's top cannabis brands or faces of people come from this facility that's out of Salinas. So there's same flower, just different, packaging, different branding. Aesthetic, whatever it is. And so that's how a lot of people are kind of easily getting into that kind of aspect. But a lot of those people that are working with that are doing it kind of as a brand partnership. So it's like these people don't own the company. They don't own their flower line. They're the face of the flower line. Gotcha. So they're getting a percentage for it. And so typically it happens to be more like influential, like based people, whether it's like Khalifa Kush or like, I'm not saying he comes out of like Salinas, but I'm just saying that a lot of these people that have these brands, their flower is supplied by other people and they're not actually growing it themselves.
Gotcha.
So it's much easier for them to have a brand and to do all of these things and work within that space itself. A lot of people went the hemp route as well because the licensing to enter was so much cheaper. So being able to have a $1,000 licensing fee, to start with, for a hemp field. Yeah.
Are you serious? Mm-hmm. That's a huge difference. Yeah. That's crazy.
And so, but within all that, the market became really overly saturated because there was so many people that were popping up with the hemp license, but there was also a lot of people that were going severely in debt because they said, $1,000 entrance fee. And in some states it was even less, like $300. So like, okay, $300 entrance fee. Let's take all this money. Let's raise all this capital. But either we don't know how to grow hemp or people don't know how to grow it on that scale of size. And I mean, they were throwing out like millions of acres and, they're left and right, all these farms were popping up. And, my farm's been in existence for 6 years now, starting in Oregon, all the way, moving down here to California. To say the least, when I look around and I see companies, there's probably only 10 other farms out there that started when I started that are still going right now, as well as actual companies that are like, producing their own products. So, the market definitely did tighten up, going through that heavy influx. And then people also realizing like, whoa, I don't know how to grow hemp, or these people don't know how to go do it. Or, hey, we don't have a market to sell it in because we don't know anybody.
Right.
So a lot of those things happen. And it was actually like one of the things that I talk about a lot is that there's this really heavy misconceptions within farmers that farmers are like the happiest people in the world. Like there was some stupid video that came out, and I say it's stupid because it's a straight up lie. They said that farmers were the happiest, employee, like employers, employee people, whatever, in the U.S. And they're like, so you should start your own farm and start growing your own vegetables and start producing and doing all these things and everything like that. But what they fail to recognize and what they fail to mention, and regardless of their straight up blatant lie, was that farmers actually they're the most likely to commit suicide out of all occupations in the U.S.
Why is that?
I would say there is a lot that goes into farming. There's a lot of money, there's a lot of time, and farming can be something that requires people to be a little bit more distant and independent of their community in itself. Gotcha. And regardless if we're working, like if we have people that come out and work for us, we're still probably living out in the middle of nowhere. We probably still don't have a lot of exposure to, to people, to, different events. It's just a different, kind of occupancy where you're more isolated. Oh, yeah. And then if you think about hemp farmers and you think about cannabis farmers, it's like they're already more isolated just because of the work itself. So, being careful about who comes out to your farm, all of these things. But for farmers themselves, it's like, there's a heavy investment of money that goes into, doing your year. And for instance, if you solely rely on that income of your crop, and we have a really bad year, say there's fires out here, say there's a drought, say that it rains too early, specifically for cannabis farmers, and other crops as well, like the grapes. If it starts to rain and there's grapes out there and they start to get wet, they have like, my girl works for a winery around here, and she's like, we have X amount of hours to get to it before it's completely ruined. And so, yes, there's crop insurance and stuff like that, but the likelihood of the high payout or the payment to actually cover all the crops, it's a really tough process to go to. So when a farmer's year fails and they're looking at the end of the year and they've already maxed out all their credit cards, or they took out all of their money because that farm has to operate every single month. For my farm, people may say, okay, it's $1,000 entrance fee, but it's $1,500 every month for electricity. Sheesh. For my farm for those months that I run. So thinking about, okay, put that $1,000 into it. Now I got to put all this X amount of money into it. Now, can I hire helpers? Can I not hire helpers? Right. So that's something for myself within that side of things. So if I were to lose my year to a fire or to something else, that could be really devastating to me. Right. That could mean that not only did I lose out on all of my time, my effort, my money that I put into it, I am also losing out on my profit right now too. So that's why for farmers, it's when the prices of different agriculture stocks go up and down. There was a huge grape a raisin crash like 5 years ago, where it basically went like pennies to the dollar of the raisins. And again, farmers were losing their properties, and they were having to switch agriculture commodities like ASAP. And so it's something that I try to bring recognition to, because like there's just a different mental like spectrum to like farmers themselves of like being isolated, doing these certain things over here, but then also the high cost of the overtures that they experience and the stress. Imagine you're like 6 months, I have been working on this crop and
you ready?
And then you're ready to harvest, and then it rains, and then your whole thing goes out. But I carry 6 months worth of stress with me every single year until I harvest, until it's in packaged, like after it's been processed and packaged. That's when I feel like I can relax, because it's not even until that moment can I relax out of that.
Right.
So that's why I'm here today, because I'm in my relaxing portion right now.
I love it. So what is the process? Because you said so it takes like 6 months for like growing to package, or?
I would say, okay, so we start popping seeds in May. Right.
Oh, wow.
And then we take care of veg plants. So they're in a veg state, like they're seedlings. Then they go into a vegetative state.
Okay.
And so up until July 1st is when they're in veg. So that's 2.5 months that they're in a vegetative state. And then we go ahead and plant them. And then they'll still stay into veg. Mm-hmm. And so when it goes from the vegetative state, when they're in the small cups versus when we plant them out into the field, there's a significant price increase, like of what we're putting out, because now we're having to use, more nutrients. We use all organic inputs. So, that's like 3-4 times like the cost of like regular amendments and everything like that. But yeah, so 2 months into that. And so when we're in July, August, September, so May, June, July, August, September, October. Yeah. 6 months.
You harvest around like October.
In October, yes. In September, mid-September, we start harvesting, and we usually finish by mid-October. Okay. But then during mid-October to November, we're doing processing. Okay. For that all. So,
And you say processing like packaging and or
it's I would say not even to that step yet.
Oh wow.
We're still in it was hung up. Now we pulled it down.
I've seen the videos.
Now we cut it into like nugs, and then either we hand trim it or we run it through a machine that trims it up. Okay. But even if it's machine trimmed, then it's touched up afterwards, and then after that, then it's put into, humidity, like controlled, like containers, so to say, and then some of that's packaged up, after that point. Right. But yeah, so I mean, I would say like it's a 7-month long process.
It's a process. So when y'all getting y'all stuff, you see, it's not just I'm just gonna grow a plant and here we go, let's go. Yeah, that's a process for sure.
It is.
For sure.
It is. I'm like, I don't have kids, but I feel like every year I'm birthing this baby, like right on out. And I'm just like, I can't leave. Like people are like,
because that's your baby. That is your baby.
If we try to do this in the summertime, I'd be like, girl, I don't know. I'm like, I don't.
Can't. I got to be able to see my stuff.
I won't be done with my farm stuff in the summertime. I'll be like waking up at 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. And then
real farm life.
It got to be done, because as soon as that heat comes out, like that's excruciating.
How does the crop? So I know that where you're at is a higher elevation, right? So it doesn't get as hot as down here.
It's like 5 degrees colder.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
So how does the crops like survive that heat?
They love it. Just water.
They do? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, okay, think about it. Like, cannabis comes from like Afghanistan. Like, it comes from like the Kushite Empire. Like, all of the it comes from China too. But a lot of the strains, that we think of, like even like from like like Afghanistan Kush and like those varieties, they come from like the desert. They come from like the Mediterranean desert. And so it's like, as long as we got water, like.
Yeah, because they get hot in Afghanistan.
And they need a lot of water. They do. Yeah. So.
That's another bill too. Mm-hmm. She's like, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I'm like doing all that. But then also it's like reminding myself that it's like I always had to take care of myself too. Mm-hmm. And so it's like I am always kind of like, people are like, I don't have time to do like spa treatments for myself, or I am too busy for all of that. And I'm like, girl, you were never too busy to just like maybe just wash down your face at the end of the night, or, you know, even in taking like makeup wipes or anything like that, because I'll be honest, like most farmers, they do not take good care of their skin, and nor do, you know, self regimens like that. And I think that also goes into like your mental wellness. And so like for me, dressing up at the farm, doing my makeup, I'm taking care of myself. I am getting myself ready regardless if anybody's going to see me. Because imagine if you were just at home for 3 days and you ain't seen nobody. Yeah, like you had to do things that make you feel like you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. Like I got ready. Like I did all these things. But I'm also taking care of myself and making sure that while I'm putting all the hard effort out there for the plants, that I'm also giving myself back love as well. I'm like, whether it's like going to like, I'm like, I will make time to go get massages.
I love it. I was just gonna ask you. I'm like, did we do self-care? Okay,
like,
good.
Yeah, I'm like,
and she's like, absolutely, that's not negotiable.
Oh yeah, that is not non-negotiable. I may not have time to do nothing else that week with anybody. Like, you may not be able to get me to meet up for nothing, but if we're going to go to the spa, if we're going to go get massages, like I don't even got to go somewhere nice to go get massages. I'll go to one of them little Thai places over here.
Rub me
invite
out.
My girlfriend. I'll be like, this is the time I have. Come get a massage. Like, I'll be in the room next to you. Like, don't make weird noises.
Yeah. I love it. So let's talk about community engagement, because baby, I see you everywhere and I love it. And that's one of the things that definitely drew me to you for sure. So I was like, I love, y'all know I love community and just women empowerment and just growing your circle and just community, just all of that. I just love it. So, what ways in your space and just you in general, are you involved like in the community?
So I would say like community on different levels of, you know, my intermediate community, such as like with my friends, my family, like my closeness, right? The community that I have upwards where I live at. And then the community that is outside and out, you know, for me, whether it is my community of women, whether it's my community of Latinas or my community of other, you know, Black, Brown, Indigenous, Asian, Pacific Islander, you know, women. And minorities, or other underrepresented groups. You know, it takes place for me on so many different levels, from the projects that I work on, who I partner with, you know, being able to partner with another Latina for my topical line, somebody that, you know, works really hard, somebody that I feel like shares like, you know, the same values as I do, but also, you know, has a lot of potential within themselves. And so a lot of times when, you know, I look about my community representation, so it's not just at events. It wasn't just about, you know, presenting at, like, I have presented at, like, cannabis science, you know, conferences on, you know, providing, like, research into statistics on, you know, minority women and, you know, cannabis agriculture, to doing, you know, speeches on, you know, what it means to be, you know, a Latina in cannabis and how we can empower ourselves and empower other people. And I think that, you know, one, advocating is a really wonderful thing to do.
Right.
Who you surround yourself is also like a positive representation, you know, of what you're doing, and, you know, the support that you can give to other people, such as, you know, well, what events are going on in town?
Right.
How can I go support somebody that's been supportive of me? And, you know, making the effort and everything like that. So, you know, I've loved being able to like travel to different areas and, you know, go to events. Like, I'm a part of Latinas in Cannabis, right? And so that's founded by one of my good friends, Susie Palencia. And she is an advocate, a fearless woman, you know, unapologetically fucking badass.
I love it.
And literally, you know, has always opened up the door for other women. And so when I see somebody like that doing something like that, I'm like, well, how can I get involved? How can I participate? You know, yes, I will drive, you know, this many hours to like come to this event. If there's like 20 people there, or if there's like 100 people there, like, I got you, let's do this.
That's support.
You know, along with like how we're doing our collaborations as well, because it's like, yes, there's a lot of times like we can say, yeah, fuck you, pay me. But there's a lot of times that, you know, I think that sometimes looking at each other and saying, well, hey, you have this resource, I have this resource. I think at an economical level, like this is a fair like trade value. Let's see how we can, you know, expand what we're doing over here, right? Because there is a lot of competition within the marketplace and everybody wants to compete against each other rather than trying to team up and, you know, just share the spotlight and realizing that this isn't a me thing and that when we all get somewhere, like we're all getting somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And y'all know that I be preaching that all the time. Like, it's so important to collaborate, support. That's like the biggest thing with anybody's brand or anybody's business. Just that supporting one another, like that whole mentality of like it's too saturated or I don't want to support you because we're in the same industry. Like, enough is enough. Just support me. I'm gonna support you. We're gonna be supporting each other, and people just don't realize how much of when you collaborate with people, when you support, people see that, people recognize it even when you don't think they see you, they see you. And on top of that, you don't know who knows who. So when they see that and they're like, no, she be supporting, like I see her at every event and she's gonna come through no matter what. Like they're gonna.
And you never know what kind of job opportunity or resource that somebody may have like available for you, because like I'll be the first to say, like, if we always go after the expectation that this is like solely about ourselves and making ourselves to the top, and that, hey, like, no, I got to get this, and this to be doing this. Like, it's okay to ask for what you need. It's okay to representate for yourself, but do it in a way that's supportive of the other people, supportive of your mission in a way that, you know, promotes positivity out of that. And I think a lot of times, like with everything that, you know, we're doing, is like, I look at all of these amazing brands like around me. I look at all these amazing people like around me as well. And like I tell everybody 100% of the day, I'm like, I couldn't have done this without the help of my friends. Like if people think that I hire people to come and work the farm for me during planting, that was 10 of my girlfriends.
I love it.
Half of them, they never even like touch the plants or anything like that. They love the fuck out of me. They love what I'm doing, and they want to be supportive of me. And they know that, like, they look at me and they're like, no. You're not going to pay people to come out here and do this planting. We're going to have a fun day. We're going to have like a fiesta. Like, we're going to, like, you know, enjoy and celebrate and the richness like of our femininity as well. Because that's one thing about my farm is I've always been a big, you know, I'm like big promoter of one of like a safe space for myself, like as a female, but a safe space for like my other females, but also a space that we can grow individually and that we can make connections with other people and we can feel empowered by each other. And I'll be honest, like the women that I bring up, I'm like, yeah, we all got issues, but if you can't put aside your issues and bring positivity to the table, you probably will not come back to the farm, like straight up, because we can have bad days, but if intentionally if you're negative or just not into understanding that there's a cosmic connection or relationship that we all share in a space, and that like what we put down and how we say it and put it down really affects us. And so it's like, I'll be the first to say, like, if I do something, I'm like, listen, I'm sorry. Like, my intention was never to do whatever it was. I'm going to own up to it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to give that space. And I expect the same for other people as well. And to understand that, like, we're all humans at the end of the day. But I just, like, it sounds kind of silly because, like, I'm just like, my best friend makes fun of me all the time because she's like, you don't like drama.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, I don't. I was like, why do you think I live on the farm? I just dip set. Like, I'm like, you got drama, you got an attitude. I'm just like, I ain't got to be around nobody anymore. I'm like, I'm going to go hang out with my goats.
They don't give me no attitude. We're good.
No. So, I mean, like, I love that. I love being able to have the power to do that, you know, especially because I'm just like, I own my own business, you know, I do all these things. And I love though the experiences that I've gotten to have, being able to open up my spot to other women and to have women all over the world, you know, come in. You know, I've had people come all the way from like Australia. I've had, you know, one of my good girlfriends comes in from Texas every year to help me like plant and everything like that.
I love that.
And she was just another cannabis owner that I met that owns a CBD brand, you know. And so she's like, every year she comes and helps me plant. And so
I love that.
I'm like, that's really what it is.
And that's hard to find, like a community like that, just like authentic, genuine people, like that.
And I'm like, I will give you everything that I can. I'm like, oh, you need a job recommendation? Oh, you need a resource for this thing? You have this project going on and you need somebody to sponsor it for you? Well, you know what? I don't have the money, but I know somebody that does, okay? I'm like, I can be a philanthropist for you in the right ways.
Yeah,
like, I will always try to make it make sense, you know, for everybody in that realm of just like, well, what can I, like, I'm going to provide you with a dope-ass experience, some good-ass fucking food.
Absolutely.
And what else do you need? I'm like, let's whatever, what's your dream? Like, let's manifest it. Let's make it happen. And so... you know, I think that's one of my favorite things is when those moments do happen where it comes back full circle, because I mean, that's really what we want at the end of the day, is like when I see my friends helping me and then something comes back full circle to them, of them being like, oh, okay, like I've helped you with, you know, one of my favorite things right now is like my good friend, she is a writer and my PR person. And so she's Afro-Latina, and she's like the only like PR and like journalist within the cannabis side of things that actually like lets the voices like of ourselves like kind of like not be distorted or washed in a certain way for like a specific clientele. So like if you want to say something, like you can say it, and that's going to be put in there, you know? It's like I have an article that said it was like, meet Ranchera Mommy, the woman who said, fuck working for the man. And that was an article that I had published because when I first started out in the cannabis industry and I just got out of a bad partnership, not a romantic partnership, but a bad partnership with another business owner up in Oregon. And they were a Caucasian man. And I was so overworking and being exposed to him and other men in the industry that were like that. I was like, no. So I had that article come out and I was like, yeah, fuck you.
That.
I hope you see this article
I'm gonna send it to you.
And if the shoe fits, maybe I was talking about you.
I love it. But I absolutely love it.
Yeah, so I'm like, now it's amazing because it's like, after, you know, us working together for years and, you know, us, you know, doing things that were really supported to each other, whether it was, you know, like mainly like for me, it's like I trade my resources with her. I'm like, okay, like you have all of these projects going on. You need various people for, you know, different levels of like sponsorship, whatever it is. I'm like, let me go through my Rolodex right now. Yeah. I'm like, let me figure out, because I'm going to make sure they're a good company that I like, that they have good morals and ethics, you know. But also people that are going to be appreciative and be reciprocal of what you're trying to do as well. And so when things like that happen and then she lands, you know, a contract with one of these companies or whatever it is, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I did it.
I love it.
I'm like, thank you, V, for the, tirelessly promoting me and pushing my work into the eyes of big companies and getting my work featured on these platforms because you're my friend.
I love it.
So I'm like, and so those are the moments that I truly love to see happen. Is like, let me like at the end of the day, I'm like, because I want to feel like I'm doing something for other people, like as well, you know. And
feeling.
so while you're collaborating and working with those things, you know, I think that there's a lot of opportunity that some people can be blind to, you know, and say, well, what is it that I'm getting right now, right here, rather than realizing that, you know, this is just an entrance. This is just the start to what we're doing. And that is potentially like my absolutely favorite thing to see. And even with Lydia, like my photographer, and if I was working together and to see the amount of photo shoots that she gets in and then be like, oh yeah, like Sue, like I see your work with her and like everything like that. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want my friends to be recognized.
I love it.
And feel reciprocated for the work. And like I will work my ass off on like the back end things to like, you know, make sure that like when I come up and when I have opportunities like this, I will make sure to give them out to the people that I feel like, you know, you fucking stood beside me.
Yeah.
You held me down. And I'm like, I will hold you down. I'm like, I'll make sure.
I love it. What's your sign?
Sagittarius.
Okay.
But like a Sagicorn.
What is that?
Well, somebody said it in a cuter way the other day. They said it was like oh no, they said like sad or Capricornus or something like that. But no, I'm on the cusp of like Sagittarius and like Capricorn. So it's like I literally the day of my birthday makes me a Sagittarius, but the time of my birthday makes me a Capricorn.
Okay, got you. I was like, wait, what is that?
So I got like wild Sagittarius tendencies, but I'm also very like I'm like tame, like kind of just like
I love
it. Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of advice or what advice would you have for other women or individuals that are maybe entertaining the idea of dipping into cannabis?
I would say, sorry, I spilled a little something on me. And I'm wearing white, so I don't want to get it on me.
Right there on your chin. There you go.
Okay. Like, I would say that, you know, for women or anybody that are like looking to get into the industry, it's all about your drive that you have to put into it. And if you want to start, you know, somewhere like like I said, there's multiple ways that you can go about it. You can go find, you know, a job platform, those kinds of things. You can go to events. You can go to college for it. You know, I supposedly thought that with my degree, I would go into you know, marijuana like programming specialist, which means that I would like help oversee and run, you know, marijuana programs on the recreational medicinal side and, you know, in the state of Oregon, which was very, you know, that's working obviously, you know, for the government and everything like that. So there's multiple ways that you can go about being into the cannabis industry. I think that a lot of like, you know, there's online resources and especially for like for instance, for like Latinos, there's the National Hispanic Cannabis Council. So they also offer like mentorships, you know, with people, you know, with business owners direct to people. So you know, they have different things like that. You know, something like, for instance, like if there were people that were interested in learning about, you know, learning about the farming aspect, or maybe just interested in learning about like, you know, what is it like to be like a woman in cannabis and to energetically meet up with other women, you know, like our farm itself, you know, we offer retreats, we offer, you know, day tours as well. And I always retreats? Like, yeah.
Girl.
So,
I remember that. That's cool.
And we're going to be we'll start those back up like during like after the springtime. So once we, once we plant our seedlings and get our greenhouse going, like we'll start to offer up like our little retreats and tours up there. And we have lots of Airbnbs that are around the farm that we have, people can stay at.
That is
Some are
so
like,
cool.
smoke friendly, some are, not smoke friendly, but it's just a little place to stay. But yeah, so I mean, like, there's always ways to go about it, and there's CanInclusive, there's other different online platforms, and CanInclusive is for the BIPOC, I'm like the BIPOCs, the BIPOC community, it's for us. But they have a resource of like, a list of accountable like businesses.
Okay.
They have a list of non-accountable businesses on there. So you could like go on there and see like who not to mess with. There's also, they also offer like mentorships as well. There's the Marijuana Student Cannabis Alliance. There's one down in UCLA. They have, different chapters at different universities in the United States. And they're also continuously expanding all of those kinds of things right there. So it's kind of like there's so many different, like, where could you go in the cannabis industry? Do you want to be a design artist? Do you want to be a grower? Do you want to make extractions? Do you want to make beauty products? Do you want to work in a kitchen? Do you want to work on the event side of things? Do you want to work on photography? Like, so many different things. And I say the first thing is like you have to start talking to people and manifest it and put it on your dream board. Like seriously, like whatever it is, like do those little things. Because I mean, like, if you got to be like, oh, well, where do I start? And it's like, well, talking to yourself is that's step one.
Right.
Step two is you go talk to other people about what you want to do. And that's why I say like events, and like if you feel inspired to be a part of the cannabis industry, start with doing some kind of like, go to an event, see who's there. If there's maybe, I know for me, it's the best way to come and meet me or to connect with me would be if I was at an event and if you come up to me and say hi.
I love that.
And the funny thing is that I remember everybody that says hi to me in person.
Yeah. For sure.
Except online. I'm like, online, I don't remember. I was like, but in person, I remember exactly who you were and everything like that. And then after that point, it's like, make sure you follow up. Like if you if you meet somebody, get off of Instagram, get off of text message. If there's something that you want to do, or if you have some ideas, like make it professional, follow up with them via email, because just because I'm in the cannabis industry doesn't mean like, don't call me up all the time and be like, hey, like, can you give me some, like, advice, like, or whatever. I love emails, though, because then I can take the time when I have it, and I can be like, hey, girl, like, oh, that's cute. Like,
I'm always big on, like, hey, can we go, let's grab lunch or something like that. That's an easy way to have a good conversation, but in a more relaxed setting, and be able to get your stuff across. What's some, tell us any new projects you might be working on or anything. Do you have anything coming up?
I have been switching a lot in the past, like, few years to a more creative designer, I don't know, forte of, like, what I'm doing. So, like, I have been working on pieces for an art exhibit. Not saying where yet, but I have pieces for an art exhibit that I've been working on. Okay. Because I have been basically for the past few years doing my own art installations at the farm, for my photography and for my reels and everything like that. And so like bringing some of those concepts to life is something that I'm really excited about, as well as like I'm really into like home goods, which is like when I think of home goods, I think of like mid-century, like art wall deco and everything like that. Yeah. So it's kind of like I am really excited more on like the artistic side of things like right now. I'm excited for the summertime and the fall, like for my plans to come around because I miss them. But during these months, like I'm excited to be able to, just take the opportunity to, be more present and go to more, for myself to go to more events, meet up with more people, have more wonderful conversations, like all of those things.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast or my podcast today and spreading all this knowledge. It's been a pleasure, and I'm so excited to share this with everybody. Tell everybody how they can find you on social media or getting hold of you if they're in the right way.
Yeah. I just, I'm like, if you want my full attention, the best way to reach out to me is, and I mean this as if your mom was telling you, like, just give me the moment to have the attention for you. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, email me at rancheromami@gmail.com. If you have any questions, if you are, looking to get into the cannabis industry, if you're already in the cannabis industry, or if you're looking for like beautiful, like CBD products, like from flower to joints, as well as I make my little wonderful earrings.
Girl,
right there.
Check these out. I love them.
These are like actual like hemp leaves. That have been like hand painted with epoxy and 24 karat gold, like overlaid like on them. So when I say like this is what I mean, like I like to be artsy fartsy.
Yeah, I love them.
But yeah, so like you can find us at rancherafamilia.com as well as Ranchera Mami on Instagram. And I look forward to seeing this episode and connecting with you more, baby.
Yes. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you can hear all these inspiring stories each and every week. And stay tuned for the next episode, y'all. Peace.